Hello, everyone. So glad that you keep coming. So very surprised by it also. I hope all is well. Wait. Now I can hear you if someone wants to say something. I don't know. Everyone here, right? Think so. Okay. So I think we can begin. I just wanted to say about what I said last time about the assignment, so to say. So if you want to do it, if you want to get credits for this course and have a talk, you can also have a talk if you don't want credits for this course, if it interests you and you like it, of course. So please let me know. And if you want to pick a date, you can. If not, I will pick a date for you. And you can pick a topic. There are 10 example topics that are posted on the course website or something like that. If anyone has a hard time finding it, you can email me and I can email you the example topics. You don't have to pick any of them. They're just to show what can be a topic, but pretty much anything about any Semitic language would be cool, I think, and I would like it. I see that there are several people that I haven't seen before, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but nice, very nice. So if, unless anyone has a question or something, we can begin. Any question regarding the last couple of lessons? There was so much to talk about and there really a lot of material and I keep on talking for a very long time. And I want to know that everyone is with me and understanding and if you have any questions, it's very, very complicated. It would be very surprising if no one has questions, but I respect that as well. So we can stick to morphology. We stopped around this. Does anyone want to say what this table shows beautifully? It's from Kauenbruch's book, which is a hint.
It's the Ypres, sorry, it's the Akkadian Parasu paradigm.
Yes, yes, it is. And if we want to be a little bit more accurate, I think it's Assyrian. I don't remember that Assyrian has duals, but maybe the duals are taken from Old Akkadian. Maybe Assyrian has duals. But anyway, you can see that the very characteristic Semitic merger between, or not merger, just identicalness between the third singular feminine and the second masculine singular masculine, tapus tapus, which is common to pretty much all Semitic languages. Pretty much all Semitic languages except Babylonian. So in Babylonian, just the masculine ipus is also for feminine. Okay, and what I like about this is that this table shows also the subordinative, or some people call it subjunctive. I think I mentioned it, but we haven't really spoken about it. So does any native Akkadian speaker want to elaborate on what this is exactly, what we are seeing here? Or what is the use, what is the form of the subordinative? Anyone? Okay, so the subordinative is some kind of suffix that is added to an Akkadian verb. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a specialist of Akkadian. The suffix is usually u. And what is nice about Assyrian and some other Akkadian dialects, but not Babylonian, is that there's also a suffix ni or uni. So that's the form of the subordinative marker. And the use is as far as I know, to mark the predicate of a clause. So if I want to say a man that does something, that would be, or a man that cuts, it would, or a man that has cut, it would be awilum iprusu, right? I think so. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So also nice about this table is that it shows that this subordinative suffix, I call it a suffix and not like a mood, which is, it would make more sense to talk about it as a mood, right? Because it's pretty much identical or very, very similar to some of the moods in Arabic, specifically the nominative mood, the indicative mood. But this suffix can also be added to other verbal forms. And in this paradigm, we can see it added to the stative, which is parallel to the West Semitic past. Please, Akkadian speakers, can you add a subordinative to a future or a precative or anything else? Please, I know some of you speak Akkadian very well. I will ask you to unmute, maybe. Maybe you can.
I don't think that anyone speaks Akkadian.
Oh, no. Some of the people in here speak Akkadian. I definitely know that. Not as a native language, but very close to it. Please, Chris, Jonathan.
I mean, in Assyrian, you can add a subordinative to a nominal sentence, to a nominal phrase.
Oh my, okay, no, but not, okay, that's very, very interesting. Right. But how about like durative? Can you add a subordinative to a durative?
I think so, yeah.
In every Akkadian dialect, like ipagasu.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can do that.
And you can add also to the stative in Babylonian or just in Assyrian?
Both.
Nice, okay.
Mm.
So this subordinative suffix can be, thank you, Chris, thank you so much.
I think if there is already a suffix there, sometimes you cannot do that anymore, right?
What do you? Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Babylonian. There is no ni suffix.
Mhm.
So in the longer forms, there is just. So for example,
no, I mean, if you already have a personal suffix there, or you cannot. No, not personal suffix.
An accusative suffix.
Yeah, or if you have a like a ventive or something, then you cannot have the subordinative anymore.
Okay, but it still exists in the like deep structure, but not on the surface. That's really nice. Thank you so much. So yes, so you can add this suffix to a lot of different forms, but not always it is visible because other suffixes would get. And this is, well, the reason I mentioned Arabic is because in Arabic, I'm sure we'll agree. As I said, it's very, very similar to the Arabic indicative mood, and it kind of seems like this should be the source for it because, well, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but assuming a paradigm was generalized to suffixes is one possibility here, and assuming suffixes were just added to different paradigms and just one paradigm stuck with the suffix is the other option. And I think the latter is more likely, but that is, I guess, a bit speculative. Anyway, if we look at the verbal inflection in Sokotri, which is nice. We can also talk about a little bit more about these different moods or suffixes or just verbal forms, because the borders really seem to be iffy here. So I don't know what briser means in French. If someone wants to tell me, that would be nice. I checked, I forgot. Anyway, you can see that in the past, we have this kaf, which we haven't really talked about, but is very the southern part of South Semitic. So this is another one of those features which is in common with between modern South Arabian, Old South Arabian, and Ethio-Semitic. They have kaf in the what we call the suffix conjugation, whereas Akkadian has both kaf and taf, like k and t, for the different persons, and all the other West Semitic languages, the non-South ones, have just taf and no kaf. So it is reasonable to assume that each of these language groups or areal groups just adopted one of the, or generalized one of the suffixes. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to say about this paradigm, which is very, very interesting, or why is it interesting? Or I don't know. Very, very quiet today. So this is the past. This is the indicative future, which is, as I said in the last lesson, parallel to the Akkadian ipagas. So this is a feature of non-Central Semitic, meaning East Semitic, Akkadian and Eblite, modern South Arabian and Ethio-Semitic all have this future ipagas, which Central Semitic languages don't have. So everything about it seems quite regular, or tegashal, tegoshil. We already saw this kind of weird ablaut between the second masculine singular and the second feminine singular, and also in some of the plural forms. This is also very characteristic of modern South Arabian. Once again, it must be some kind of result of vowel harmony / and or palatalization. So here we can also see the different lamed. Sokotri has two different lameds, sometimes phonemes, sometimes allophones, and here they're allophones, but many times they're also phonemes. So this is the dark L, the L with the line signifies la, like the Russian L or the American L, and the lambda signifies a palatalized L. Like not sure I can even pronounce it. Yeah, a palatal L, in fact, but it is palatalized also. So we can see the different vowels, which is nice, very, very weird. The dual has this ending once again in the future, which we already saw in some other modern South Arabian languages, I think, which makes sense, kind of similar to the Arabic and the Old Akkadian and Eblite I, or something like that. We don't know exactly. And once again, we see this N in the second feminine and third feminine plural, which is also characteristic of Central Semitic and modern South Arabian, but does not exist in Semitic and East Semitic. And the T for the third feminine plural, which is in common between modern South Arabian and Hebrew, pretty much. There's a message in the chat. Are the two L's allophones? Oh, Press asked. And once again, I said, sometimes they're allophones and sometimes they're phonemes. That's well, I haven't really explained anything about allophones or phonemes. And I think the next class, maybe in the end of this class, we'll already talk about stuff like that and phonology. But many times, I think almost any case in Semitic languages where a phoneme has split into two sounds, they are sometimes phonemicized and sometimes allophones. Like in here, you have to consider them allophones because they share the same paradigm, but there are minimal pairs as well.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
So it seems in this case, the palatalized L is always near a Right.
That's true, exactly.
So in this case, it's complementary with each other.
Yes, I'm not, yeah. If this were the only evidence we have, these would be in complete complementary distribution. In this paradigm, they are allophones, even if they weren't in complementary distribution, like even if there wasn't an E always before the palatal L, it still was allophones because they share the same paradigm, like they convey the same meaning. But these sounds can also function as phonemes, and there are also minimal pairs. We call these phonemes with a low phonemic load. But it's okay, like we haven't talked about that yet. And the subjunctive is interesting. Does anyone want to say why it is interesting and also a little bit different from, I don't remember which one we saw, either Mehri or Jibali, but I think I already mentioned this lamed in the subjunctive in only some of the Arabian languages, not all of them. And also tigre, which resemble very much the Akkadian lipus precative and also Old Aramaic lif'al. And in Arabic, there's what we call lam el-amr, I think, or something like that. No, I don't remember the name. But anyway, there's a lam that that comes before majzoom and signifies some kind of cohortative or something like that, like li naf'al, mean let us do. So here, once again, I don't know, like, because Arabic is so innovative in some other things, it would not surprise me that Arabic has generalized this this rare prefix onto a more common prefix that you can add to all of the persons, but I don't know. And once again, the conditional one, I don't remember how much we have spoken about it. This is considered to be an innovation of modern South Arabian, but all modern South Arabian languages have this conditional. And it is kind of resembling the Hebrew, like biblical Hebrew has also these N suffixed forms, which usually are considered a remnant of the difference between the indicative and modal futures. But I think there were also researchers, scholars that say that their use is more of conditional clauses or something like that. I don't think anyone has compared these, but that could be interesting. And the imperative, which is nice, you can see the epenthesis of the vowel before the first radical, which is more characteristic of Arabic than modern South Arabian. Anything else to say about this paradigm? There is another nice thing that Sokotri does not have a difference in the nasal between the genders, so to say, the second person plural and the third person plural. In most Semitic languages, they are distinguished either only by the nasal, like Hebrew hem hen, or by the nasal and the vowel in something else, like Arabic hum hunna. But in Sokotri and also in Aramaic and in Akkadian and in Phoenician, I think, there is the same nasal in both genders, which is very, very interesting. So here we can see that the verbal forms for the past, which should have had an M here and an N here, compared to other modern South Arabian or other Semitic languages, have an N in both. And of course, the Geshel and Geshel, like the third feminine plural and the third masculine singular have merged, I think, in the past tense in all of modern South Arabian. But of course, there was probably a vowel in the end, which was elided, which caused this merger. And same goes for the third masculine plural, which also shows an ablaut in the vowels, a change in the vowels, which probably also signifies that there was a vowel in the end that was dropped. Anything about these things? No. I'm surprised that none of the Arabic specialists here has not talked about or mentioned that there's no vowel at the end of the third masculine singular, which is very characteristic of Arabic, like fa'ala, like classical Arabic or literary Arabic. And also Ethio-Semitic, all of Ethio-Semitic languages also have this final vowel, like sebberre, and not sebber. But all of modern South Arabian don't have this vowel, and nor does Akkadian and most of the other languages. So also very interesting to think about that. We will have a forced break in about 10 minutes. Anything else? Any question? Please. Very, very complicated. Don't know. Okay, so also another generalized suffix, or just a, I don't know, very interesting suffix in some of the Central Semitic languages is the energetic form, or an energetic, kind of looks like the conditional in modern South Arabian, in the sense that it always adds a noon. Some have also compared it to the ventive in Akkadian. So it comes with a suffix an or sometimes anna. This is from right, of course, the standard Arabic grammar. And what's interesting is that, sorry, there's a question. Arabic has two sounds for lamed. Is this a common thing in Semitic languages? Well, sorry. So I think some Arabic dialects have these two sounds like actual separate phonemes, but I think most dialects, or at least ones that I'm acquainted with, have the other sound, the la sound, only around emphatics and in the word Allah. So I don't think it's very common, but there are certain varieties of Arabic, Aramaic, and of course Sukotri, as we've seen, that have these two lameds. But it is considered an innovation. So if you want to add the an or anna suffix to a plural verbal form, or like a verbal form that has a long suffix, you get these interesting things, taktubinna and yaktubunna. This is something I think I don't know from any other Semitic language. And especially the weirdest ones are the duals, yaktubani, with an ultra heavy syllable. Anything else? Nothing. Fine. So the ventive in Akkadian, this is from Streck's book, has these different forms. So it's usually M or but sometimes it's also nim. So this is also kind of resembling the energetic suffix, but also some of the other suffixes. I don't know. It also kind of reminds me of the subordinative sometimes, because this starts with a vowel and this starts with a ni. I don't know. Very confusing. What my point was in showing you all of these weird things is that we really have no idea about all these moods and verbal forms, because unlike the tenses, which we can understand that the forms are identical, but the uses are different, here there's a whole mess of really similar forms and completely different meanings, and no one knows which form to connect to which form, or it's really, really very confusing. Like, the standard way is to look at it is the subordinative is cognate with the indicative suffix, and the ventive is with the energetic, but it's really, really complicated. So if there's no question about that, we can talk about sound and broken plurals, which is a very nice topic. So in Arabic, we have this very simple paradigm, sarraq, for example, thief, sarraquna, sarraqina. So sarraquna is the nominative, sarraqina, the oblique, which means accusative and genitive. Now, I haven't really explained all these case meanings or names yet, except the genitive maybe. So if you have any question about that, that's also okay. And we can also see, so yeah, there are the ina, una, and the at suffix. So ihtimal, ihtimalat, possibility, possibilities. So ihtimal is not a feminine noun, but it's a masdar, like a verbal noun. So a lot of the verbal nouns also have this at suffix for the plural. And this is a very nice example of almost sound plurals, as I like to call them, jalsa, jalasat. So the singular is jalsa, the plural is jalasat. Does this remind anyone of anything? Is there anyone who wants to say anything about this? So this is very, very similar to the seglets in Hebrew and Aramaic. It's actually pretty much the same, that the stem of the singular is fa'al or jals, and the stem of the plural is jalas or fa'al with an inserted a vowel. So these are sound plurals that have a slight change in the stem before the suffix. But then we have broken plurals. Does anyone want to explain what broken plurals are? So in Arabic, there are roughly 3 types. You can divide them in different ways, of course. First type is the simple ones, kalb, kilab, dog, dogs, shahr, shuhur, or ashhur. So one noun can have more than one plural form. They're very unpredictable. Walad, awlad. So why, in what sense are these regular or simple? That they just have some kind of change, which is not that big usually. You add like an a vowel or an u vowel or something like that, and that's it. Talib, tullab is a little bit more because you also add the gemination, which is interesting. Talib means student. Shahr means month, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the first type. The second type has this
Excuse me, طلاب is not the plural of طالب, it's a plural of طلاب.
sorry, once again, tullab is the plural of talab.
Yeah,
Really? Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
طالب it should be طالبون.
Oh, but there's also talib, talaba, and I think there's also tullab, but I don't know.
Yeah, there is also طلبة.
Yeah.
With that مربوطة. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
as you see, it's very
in front of me.
unpredictable, and people can even argue. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I made a mistake. So these ones have the singular feminine suffix, the ta marbuta, in the plural, which makes sense in Arabic because plurals of non-animate or unanimate or even non-human nouns are considered feminine singular. But as we already said, talib, talaba means students. This is a human noun. So talaba is plural masculine in all of its inflection, but it still has a ta marbuta. Malak, malaika, ustad, asatida, professor, nashat, anshita. Any question about these forms? Okay, so the third type, which is I think the more interesting type, is this. Sadiq, asdiqa, maktub, makatib, risala, rasail. We have about a minute and a half if anyone wants to say what's special or interesting about these. There's a hint, of course.
You
Yes.
add Alif, Hamza.
Yes, some of them have a Hamza, but not all of them. Like Maktub Makatib doesn't, or you have an Alif. Yeah, but this is not what I was talking about.
That they
So,
are diptotic.
yes, that's true. They are diptotic. Now, also the sound plurals were diptotic, the ones we saw before, but these ones are a different kind of diptotic, which means that they have only 2 case inflections instead of 3. And they also don't receive the tanween, the noon suffix. So only the plurals. So makatibu in the accusative would be makatiba, and in the genitive also makatiba. And this also occurs only when they're indefinite. So when they don't have the